Grandpa was born February 17th, 1983 in Illinois, somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And left home, you don't know what age, but high school age? You said he left school, so he left high school, huh?
Huh?
When he left home, he was high school age?
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've got all his not all of his report cards, but a couple of them that you should see.
Yeah.
And he was out of school more than he was in.
Yeah.
Because he had to help his dad, and that's why he missed school, but he got awful good grades.
Yeah.
And his writing was perfection. And I think his sister, he had one sister, Alice, Aunt Alice, and she lived in Aurora, Illinois.
Okay.
And let's see, was she older or younger? I don't know. I think she might have been older.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. But anyway, and she came to Imperial to visit a couple of times and brought her two children, a boy and a girl, Russell and Lois May. And let's see. And then Uncle Harry followed Dad. Oh, about a year later, and here came Uncle Harry. He wanted to be with Dad, so he came to Imperial.
Yeah, so...
You know, in those days they hitchhiked. They walked to get where they wanted to go.
Yeah. Well, when he came, you said he worked in, Grandpa worked in Grant for a while at a creamery, and then started his own creamery in Imperial. At what age would he have been then? At what age would he have been, do you think, when he got to Imperial? 20 or?
Or less.
Or less?
I don't know. I have all that, you know, even their write up in the paper about their wedding.
Yeah.
That I could tell you more because it told what old Dad did.
Yeah, well, I'll look for that. And I was going to get to that next. So, Grandma was the first baby girl born in Chase County.
In Imperial.
In Imperial. Okay, and not sure what year that was. I guess we were thinking 1885.
Probably. Because the doctor that delivered her, I can remember this. I wasn't too old either. I mean, I was probably beyond 10, but the doctor that delivered Mom retired. Can't think of his name, but anyway. And they had a big celebration down in Juanita for this doctor. I know his name as well as can be. And they pushed Mom down the main street of Juanita in a baby carriage.
Oh.
And I was trotting right behind her. And
so she wasn't a baby anymore, but she was being pushed down.
Well, no, I was beyond 10, I know.
Yeah.
Because I remember it.
Huh.
Okay. And that was the first baby girl in Imperial. And Kenny McGooden, who you know, his dad was the first child born in Chase County.
Really?
And so I didn't know that until I met Kenny. Didn't take long to learn it.
So, Grandpa moves to Imperial and starts the creamery and starts buying land and small place. I'm sure it didn't take long to meet Grandma.
No.
Your mom. And when did they get married?
When were they married?
Yeah. What year, do you know?
June 5th of 1905.
1905.
I think that wedding license or wedding thing in my room says 06.
You're right, it does.
I knew that, but I don't know whether that's right.
Okay, so anyway.
And Egg Burke, who was the banker, I don't know whether he was in those days, but I think so, of the Farmers Merchants Bank. He's the one that stood up with them and everything. And then Grandpa uh, my grandpa took over the bank, or started another bank, and it was the First National. And anyway, Grandpa, I can remember the two old guys, Grandpa and the other guy, Mr. Bailey, sat in the bank window every single day of the world. And they never missed. I mean, they just sat there. They were the two founders of the bank. And I don't know, I think it's kind of funny that the two of them sat there. And I'll tell you about Grandpa Cottrell. He was so thrifty. One day he broke a belt buckle or something, and there he sat in the window of the bank with a rope tied right here. It was his belt. Why use a belt when you got a rope?
Yeah. Well, and then Helen was the first child.
Who?
Aunt Helen?
Yep.
When was she? What year was she born? Do you know?
Oh golly. Now I used to know that. My two older sisters were 14 and 16 years older than I.
Okay, so 16, so about
From 23,
1907. Yeah.
probably is about when Helen
So
was born.
16 years difference, and so there was Helen and Lois, and then Margaret, and then Wayne and John, and then you.
Right.
What was it like in the Newman household?
Well, you know,
in the 20s when
well,
you were
I
very
can't
young?
remember Lois or Helen ever living there. Helen went to nurses training in Chicago, and Lois went to Fort Collins to Colorado State College, was it called? I don't know. At Fort Collins, and she graduated from there and taught home ec. And Helen, I don't know about, I think probably graduated as a nurse because she worked for years in Denver as a nurse. And well, that's about all of the that I can think about the two girls, except turn it off. Oh well.
Nobody's going to see it.
Huh?
Nobody will see it.
Well, Lois was in college. They discovered she had TB,
Oh, really?
so they put her in the home in Brush, Colorado, and it was called, I think it's still there,
Yeah.
and I think it's still going. But anyway, she was in that home for, I don't remember any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Well, just getting this, I want to get a sense of what Imperial was like, say, in 1930. You would have been about 7, or early 30s. That's part of the Depression, and the Newman household. What was Christmas like? Those kind of things.
and for her, golly, I don't know, but I can't remember too many changes in the household of different eras. I don't know. All I can remember is, well, I can remember holidays, some of them, and upstairs in the house, were the 4 bedrooms, and then, well, there was one on the main floor, but it wasn't used as a bedroom, and so, I remember though, the upstairs wasn't heated at all, except for the register that was in the hall that gave out heat from the furnace below. Below.
In the basement.
In the basement. And that provided the heat for all the upstairs rooms. So we all sat around the furnace, till time to go to bed, and then we just had to bundle up and run upstairs and jump in bed because it was so cold.
Yeah.
The folks finally got a little space heater for the bathroom, which helped a lot. And we used that then, and let's see. And so holidays, I don't remember a lot of holidays, but Dad was always, there was a company called National Bellis Hess, and that was a jewelry store, and they sent out a yearly catalog, about an inch thick, and of all the jewelry they had, and Dad was a good person to deal with on that. And so every Christmas I got something in the toe of my stocking, which was of value, and on top of that was just peanuts and candy on an orange or apple or something, but the one goodie in the toe.
I see. What about cars? What kind of car did Grandpa have? What was his first car? Do you remember? Or?
His first car? I don't remember.
He probably had one before you were born, you know. When
Well,
first
I'll
cars
tell you.
came out, he would get one.
Have
right?
you ever heard of a Duesenberg?
Sure.
And I told you about it.
I don't think so.
Oh, Grandpa had a Duesenberg.
Really?
And when I was a child, it sat in our backyard, and I can remember the open sides and the pull-down seats from the front seats and some stuff like that. And we sat in it and played. And then a guy from Colorado who had an aunt and uncle who was Egg Burke, the banker in Imperial, and he came to visit every year, and he finally talked Dad into selling him that car, and he made a touring car that he used up in Estes.
Wow.
And so it was quite a famous car. But and then
Okay.
Dad was in the dealership with Divine Motors in McCook selling Dodges. Dodge and Plymouth, I think he had. And so Dad and Uncle Frank were the representatives in Imperial to sell those cars.
I see. So he did everything.
Huh?
Owned commercial real estate in downtown Imperial and sold cars and had the creamery and had land and
Yep,
farmed and ranched.
yep. And I'll tell you one thing about Dad that I can remember is I can remember coming out. We lived right beside my aunt and uncle. And I can remember coming out our back door, and right back door across here, and there was Uncle Marsh's house. And here was Dad coming out of the back door, taking off his mask and everything, first Santa Claus. And just broke my heart to think that my dad had been Santa Claus for so many years, and he had. He down at the intersection, probably the only one at that time in Imperial, and passed out candy, and he did it year after year after year, and I never knew who was Santa Claus until that day. Broke my heart.
Yeah. What are your fondest memories of your mother?
Fondest memories of my mom. She was such a meek and mild person, but strong. I don't know how to interpret strong in that sense. I really don't, but she was. And she was, I can't remember, I can remember the whole finger, but I can't remember ever being punished for anything. I don't know whether they didn't believe in spankings or what.
Yeah.
But my two older brothers, I remember them getting knocked around a bit, but not me.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that happened was one Halloween, my two brothers played hockey out in the street all the time. They made their own hockey sticks and played with a block of wood. And they had quite a team, two teams, and they played all the time. and I was in their way all the time, and I was just a nuisance. That
That's okay, keep going.
a big nuisance, and anyway, one day, I guess I was such a nuisance, they decided to get rid of me, and so one brother set me up on every corner was the water tank. What do you hydrant?
Mm-hmm.
A water hydrant, and on top of it was a little nozzle like that, you know. Well, anyway, my brother set me on it, and then went off to play hockey. And I had a hole in my Saturday pants, underpants, and I tried to get off, and I caught on that top thing, and I hung there and hollering for Mom, and she finally came and rescued me and really reprimanded those boys. But
Yeah. I'll bet.
memories like that, why, you don't forget.
Right, you must have
And-
been pretty
and
little
some-
at that time.
Some that you should remember, you don't.
Okay, graduated from high school, where did you go? You went-
Me?
Yeah,
Colorado Women's College
Colorado Women's College, which is where?
in Denver,
In Denver.
and the Mr. Sneed, the guy that came out, evidently the schools had representatives that came out and met with seniors, you know, or something, because he's the one that came to our house and signed me up to go to Colorado Women's College. And at that time, I can remember it was to go to college. It seemed like it was like $1,500 a year. But if you paid it one time, it was half price, $750. And I think that's what I paid
Yeah,
in those days.
well, that was right at the beginning of World War II.
Yep,
And
I was
a lot of
out
people
there.
weren't going to college.
I was there. The folks had just taken me and dropped me off about 2 months earlier. And so I was at Colorado Women's College when December 7th happened, and quite a time.
Yeah,
And my brother was in Hawaii, my oldest brother, and he was reported missing to the folks. But, I don't know. I want to say a matter of a few days, the folks were notified he was okay.
mm-hmm,
So, anyway, that was that era.
right. So how long did you stay at Colorado Women's College?
1 year,
1 year, then where did you go?
University of Nebraska,
Oh, you did? Okay.
okay? Didn't you know that?
No, I know you went to Portland at one time.
You what?
Didn't you go to Portland?
Oh, after the schooling, I went to Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
Lois, my youngest sister, she and her husband were in Portland, and they were working at Swan Island shipyards.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them were. And then Bill got drafted, and so Bill had to leave. And Lois called home and said, I'm all alone out here now. Would Virginia come out and work and like to live with me? And so my friend, Donna Fisher from Juanita, and I went to Portland, Oregon on the, it was a train that we caught in Ogallala, I think, the Portland Express or something like that. And we went to Portland, worked the graveyard shift, made $1.87 an hour, which was a lot of money. And was there about,
Graveyard shift doing what? What were you doing? What kind of work?
IBM machines
Oh, yeah?
in the payroll department. The shipyards,
Yeah.
and
I
had
thought it
the,
was shipyards. I didn't know what you were doing.
yeah, and IBM machines, which you had, oh, I'm trying to think of something comparable to, it had a big board that had to be keyed and put in the end of your machine,
Yeah.
and that helped you run your payroll and stuff. But keying this big board took the time, and that was the big job. And that was something you had to learn to do.
Yeah.
And it was good though, and we watched the foreign ships come in to dock right there, and they don't have any refrigeration or nothing, and so they really dumped stuff in the docks right there, and until they finally, I don't know what they did about it, but it was an uproar for a while. So that's about it.
Well, I want to get to how you met Dad.
Huh?
I want to get to how you met Dad.
Oh, how I,
Yeah. So
Oh.
from Portland, where did you meet Dad?
the Portland, I came back to Imperial
Mm-hmm.
and then went to McCook and looked for a job. And I found a job with the civil service job with the Bureau of Reclamation. And when I started to work for the Bureau, there was one small office above Jack Kidd's drugstore, and there was only one other guy there, Mr. Redmond. And then they hired E.J. Williams, and then me, I think. But we were the only three in that office up there until Mr. Robinson was hired, and boy, it just boomed, you know. The Bureau of Reclamation did. And so that's when Dad was hired there. And he used to go to Madrell's to eat every noon. And I don't know whether I knew that and I went there on purpose or if I just happened to go there. I don't know. Anyway, I met him and started dating him, and he was 28 or 29 years old. You know,
Yeah. So that would have been about 1945, huh? He would have been 28.
probably.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have been 23, 35, 22, probably.
Yeah.
Uh-huh, about right.
That's about right. So tell me about Dad when you met him. What?
Oh, he was one of the, I don't know, nicest, kindest, caring guy that I've ever known. He
Very
really
much a
was.
gentleman.
He just doted on his family, and of course he had diabetes from the time he was 5 years old, and I think they discovered insulin the same year Dad got diabetes.
I thought he was 13.
Huh?
I thought he was 13 years old when he got it. It was 5?
5,
Wow.
I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I don't know. Anyway, and had it ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the old time that you had to check, you know, your urine constantly to check for the sugar and how much and all that sort of stuff. So I think if it had been in modern day, your dad would be alive yet today, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he died in 91 when he was, we liked having our 45th anniversary just, I can't remember, but it was short.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see our 45th.
Yeah. He was a very active guy, I assume, when you met him too, because I know he bowled and he played table tennis and he was fast pitch softball and played golf and what else? I mean, he.
Oh, anything. Never missed a football game.
Yeah. Who did he learn?
When we got season tickets down to Nebraska, neither end zone was filled in, you know. It
Right.
was a what do I want to call it? The
Horseshoe, well, it wasn't even a horseshoe, yeah, it was just
Oh,
a sign.
anyway, that's what we want. And well, our seats were clear up practically on the top row, which I didn't like at all. Dad thought they weren't too bad, you know, considering the rest of the stadium without the ends.
Mhm.
Why, these were better than nothing. So anyway, I don't know what year that was. Let's see. Uh, Probably when, I don't know, Jeff was a freshman in 68, 69.
Yeah, well, I know you got season tickets in like 62 or something like that, and wasn't it? And then they built the end zone, and you switched to those tickets or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who taught Dad how to play golf?
Huh?
Who taught Dad how to play golf? Cause,
Oh, his dad, I think.
yeah, because his dad was a baseball player, I know.
Yep. But his dad taught him to play golf. And Bob's mother used to tell how she packed up the sandwiches and everything for he and his friend to go play golf. And they had to walk to the golf course. And they were just kids, you know. And she said, of course, they had the sandwiches gone by the time they got there.
Mm-hmm.
And, but they golfed and golfed and golfed. And I don't know what course it was in Lincoln.
Yeah.
Probably, well, some public
Yeah.
course.
And that was from their house. Dale and I were talking about, I can't remember what street the house was on. 28th or 23rd or something like that? And Vine.
33rd, and
Yeah,
I want to say R, but I don't think that's right.
yeah, somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
So, you met in 45, got married in 1946 in Imperial.
Uh-huh.
Where'd you go on your honeymoon?
Oh, we went up to Minnesota, Mankato, and that's because Bob had a cousin that was married just less than a year before us, and they were in Mankato, Minnesota. And so we decided we'd go up and see George, or see them, and so that was our honeymoon. We planned it that way to go to, we went to Mankato, Minnesota first, and then on into Minneapolis, and that's where we, we stayed at some hotel that had one of these roving violinists that would come to your table and play anything you wanted and stuff. It was quiet, and it looked quiet because there were all these old people around us. But anyway, it was nice. It was a nice hotel, good honeymoon.
Yeah.
And never had a fight in our life, you know. I said we never, ever, ever argued or had a fight because we had lots of quiet days. I would clam
Instead
up.
of fighting.
I would not talk, and Dad wouldn't talk, and we never discussed the fights, and that was wrong. We should have talked them out.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't know, we probably did lots of things wrong. I can't remember anything else.
Yeah. Well, and Dad was quite a dancer too, right?
Oh, the best. He was, but his mother just loved to dance, and she taught him how to dance. And they danced and danced and danced, I guess, before he was married. And that would be before his dad died too, because I didn't know his father. And but then when we bought this one house in McCook that had the big family room on the back of the house.
West Circle Drive.
Uh-huh. Why, that back room was perfect for dancing. So when Bob's mother came, she always got Bob and danced. always danced.
Yeah, that room had a wooden floor, didn't it?
Hmm?
That room had a wooden floor, it wasn't carpet, right?
Oh, it seemed like it was a green tile, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe it was.
A
Maybe
block.
it was linoleum or
A
something.
block like that?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know.
So, what kind of dances? I mean, what was his best?
What?
What kind of dance?
Oh, just plain old. He was a,
Ballroom like foxtrot and
Yeah.
two-step and.
yeah, all those, but just a smooth dancer, not a jitterbug
Yeah.
at all. In fact, to go to the Playmore in Lincoln or someplace like that, he hated those, that did the rock and roll and everything because they just ruined everybody else's dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was an awful good dancer. I remember Lola Larman telling me, she said I could sit all night out at the Elks and watch you and Bob dance. I thought that was quite a compliment.
Yeah, really. So, let's see. Well, then you start having kids.
Sure did.
Yeah. Barbara in 1948,
Barb in 48
and you were still had the house on East 6th Street.
on East 6th, yep.
And then Becky, 1951, me in 1952, and Mary in 1955. What year was it that bought the house on West Circle Drive? Was that before Mary? Probably.
Well, I don't know. Mary was a baby there, but I can't remember where she was born, where we lived. No, I think we lived on East 6th. No, I don't know.
East 6
We
was
lived
getting
on-
too small for the big family, though.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. And I think Becky, we lived there when Becky was born. So then when you were born is when we decided to move, to
Yeah,
get
afterwards, yeah.
to get a bigger house.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh no.
Because I,
Where are we? At Circle Drive?
no, talking of East 6th, and when you went to Circle Drive.
Yeah.
I think I was born, you were still in East 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Christmases were a big deal at our house.
I know. I know. The kids still talk about Christmas, and it just pleases me so much to have Jeffrey say, oh, Santa Claus Lane and everything. He remembers all of it and loved every minute of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even when we were kids, Christmas
Yep.
was always a big deal. You guys made it a big deal, and it was.
Yeah, he said, and you always had gifts ready for us when we got there, and I said, I don't think so. I think I always had them gift wrapped. He
Mhm.
said, no, you didn't, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that tradition certainly has been passed on to grandkids and
Yeah.
great-grandkids and our whole family.
I said, with a large family that we have, and there's 30-some, the bond of love that binds that whole 35 family together has never been broken, and I just hope and pray it is never broken.
I'm
It's
sure it
just
won't
a
be.
bond of love that everybody loves everybody.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure it won't be, and that's to your credit.
To whose credit?
Your credit.
Oh, I don't know about that, but anyway, somebody ought to take credit for it.
Well, you and Dad.
Yeah. And he was the kindest man. He just never lost his temper or anything. He was just kind and tried to do what he could for the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember being surprised once, and I was probably 18 or something like that. And it was a golf tournament day, and I was with him for some reason. He's always in charge of things out the golf tournament, including the barbecue, I think. And he was rushing around that day and got out there with the barbecue, and I heard him say, "Damn." He had forgotten the top to the grill to the barbecue, and I thought, holy cow, he must be mad, because he doesn't say that, you know. Yeah.
That's funny. He
Yeah.
never cussed very much,
No.
ever. So I don't, or maybe it was just not around family.
Yeah, I don't know. It might have been different with the guys on the golf course.
That's correct. It could be. That's the one place that would bring that out.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing I remember that is a fond memory is the summer holidays when you and your friends would have golf tournaments and couples golf tournaments and then a party afterwards, and that was always a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
4th of July, fireworks in somebody's backyard.
I know. We did a lot of partying with all of our friends every time, same ones, and whoever had the biggest backyard, which was usually, I don't know, Rosie maybe,
Or rainbows, or
or Rainbows.
I remember going there.
I don't know. But anyway, we always all got together, no matter what.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember the story too much because I was pretty young, but one year out on the north end of number 3 golf course, went out there to shoot off fireworks.
I remember.
Tell me about it.
I remember I remember the blanket, the Nebraska, it was Wayne, my brother's, and it was a Nebraska blanket, had Nebraska clear across it, you know, and that's what they used to put the fire out with.
Yeah. Nailed a pinwheel or something to the fence,
Yep.
right? And lit it on fire and it caught all the brush on fire.
Yep. Oh my.
In fact, that's right over here. Probably
That's
not 100 yards from where we're sitting where that happened.
That doesn't seem possible, but
Yeah.
was that in McCook?
Yeah. Right over here on number 3. I mean, this building is built on number 3, the old number 3 golf course. Hole of number 3, yeah.
Well, did the guys come down here to play all the time?
What guys?
Bob.
Yeah. Well, that was another question I was going to ask you because from what I understand, McCook, when he came here, was still a sand greens golf course.
Oh, I remember, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Because we haven't lived anyplace else. I'm confused here.
Yeah.
Now I'm straight.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a sand greens course, and Dad had a hand in redesigning to make it a grass greens course,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
Well, and Bob always made charts. Charts or plans or designs or always for anything he was going to do. So we have lots of layout. We did have, somebody has them, they didn't throw them away, layouts for golf courses.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know who would.
Hmm.
Becky has all the diaries.
Yeah. I got that interest in doing that from him, I know, because, well, him being a civil engineer, you know, he was very good at all of that.
Yeah.
I remember in the early 90s when, we'll call Mary here in just a minute. When I first got a computer, I got a computer game where you could design golf courses. And
Yeah,
I loved doing that. But Dad kept all kinds of records. And a diary, and all his golf scores,
yeah,
and averages, and
I
all that kind of
suppose.
stuff.
I
And did it
suppose.
all by hand.
Yeah,
So,
well. But the only thing is, in all these years, you know, that he played golf, I had to get up and make the coffee. Dad would not make a cup of coffee for himself. He didn't know how.
is that right?
This smart civil engineer,
Yeah.
he just won me up. He did when he left for golf.
Probably.
I know. And I didn't always comply like I should, but that coffee making I won't forget.
Well, I didn't think of a lot of other questions about the last 30 or 40 years, but maybe I'll think
Oh,
about that
that's-
and we'll do another session sometime.
Okay. You mean with kids?
Yeah, our family and grandkids and great-grandkids.
Well, no, there's a lot more stories there.
Probably,
Probably that I can remember.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we better get going.